Okay, hello everybody, and welcome to today's interview with an expert. Now, often on these Ask the Expert interviews, I am interviewing a doctor or a healthcare provider in the field of women's health and wellness, or women's fitness, or men's health and wellness. Today, I am speaking with an individual who is probably more considered a patient or someone who has been on the receiving end of the healthcare spectrum. So this is Michael. Michael, do you want to just say hi real quick? Just give a little wave.
Yeah. Hey guys, good to see y'all this morning or this evening, whatever time it is, and glad to be here today.
Exactly. I'm so happy that Michael agreed to join me. This is really cool. I met Michael by way of one of my videos that is about pelvic release stretches. It was one of my pelvic pain release tension stretching videos. And I was just really impressed. He left this beautiful comment that was very, very well spoken, very sympathetic to people with pelvic pain in general. He was very open about some aspects of his own journey, and I thought I got to talk to this guy. I mean, his attitude was super positive and empowering. I loved it. I thought I want to connect. Now, I want anybody who is a female and watching right now to know that although Michael is a male, he has, male health issues. We're all talking about pelvic pain and pelvic tension in the muscles in this area. So this is really focused on pelvic pain and how Michael has dealt with his personal journey, and it applies to everybody. So please, this is for everyone, males, females alike. So I really, again, I'm grateful for you, Michael, today for talking with us about pelvic pain. I want to start with just finding out more about your personal journey and kind of what brought you to our conversation today.
Yeah, absolutely. So it's been a really long, hard journey, of course. It's been going on for about 4 years. I would say I've just about overcome most of the journey. I'm definitely on the other side of it now, thankfully. And I want to be in that place to be able to help others as much as I can, because I don't want anyone else to have to go through 4 years of this if they could stop it now, a couple of months in or a few weeks in. But it kind of started out with really this is, of course, kind of specific to a man, I guess, but it felt like my testicle had flipped. It was kind of a weird thing. And I point out these specifics because I remember whenever I was trying to find information on the internet, you just want to connect with a specific thing that's happened to you as well, whether it be something small like that, or like you got injured a certain way, or then you're like, hey, maybe this person has the same thing going on with me. So that happened. I was like, this is kind of weird. So I went to a doctor, and then I went to a urologist, and they're like, well, there really isn't anything going on. Everything seems normal. Let's do an ultrasound just in case. And it looks like I had a varicocele, which is an inflamed, a varicose vein essentially on the testicles. And that means there's an inhibition of blood flow. It was pretty small, though. They're like, this shouldn't really be causing a lot of pain or issues. And I was like, okay. But things didn't get better. Things started to get worse. There was discomfort whenever I exercised. Things like having sex were definitely an issue as well. And then it actually ended up getting a lot worse 4 or 5 months later when the tightness in the perineum and the, in between of course, if the viewers don't know, in between like the anus and the scrotum or the vagina would be those muscles right there. And that's where things started to get really bad. The muscle tightness and tension in that area was a lot more difficult to deal with. So that I started looking for ways. Okay, I did the traditional things that you would probably think. Go to urologist. They put you on antibiotics.
I was going to say, take an antibiotic. I'm sure that was one of the first things you did, or most people are told to do.
Yeah, you're having issues urinating. Okay, here's this thing that helps you urinate easier. I'm like, this is something that a 70-year-old usually is diagnosed with or prescribed, right? And I'm like, at the time I was 23. I'm like, this is crazy. And but yeah, so those sort of things, we did that, and then I went to another urologist, and I got like 3 different opinions, and then I just got fed up with the traditional, Western medicine because it wasn't doing anything at all in my situation. So I tried to heal myself, essentially. I was like, I need to release all stress. I need to find a way to just calm down and stretch out and get things back in order. I can't overdo it. So I did things like yoga and Tai Chi and Qigong, and those gave me a little bit of a baseline. It helped some. But the tightness and the issues continued to persist, though. That didn't actually fix it, really. But that kind of went on. I tried so many different things and messed with my diet and really ended up cleaning my diet out totally, because that did help a huge amount. We would eat more like an average American, I would say, not a really like unhealthy average American, but we went to all, whole grains, natural, organic, non-GMO, coconut oil, all that sort of stuff back in 2013. So that helped a lot. Actually, I would say it helped my body, but it didn't fix this issue. So
So
that was disappointing.
I have a question for you. How did you avoid getting discouraged along the way? Because it sounds, I mean, already we're talking, this is a long journey. You've done yoga, Tai Chi, you've worked on relaxation, you've done antibiotics, the healthcare route, the dietary changes, and yet you're still seeing some issues. How did you deal with the discouragement?
Well, I'm naturally a very positive and optimistic person, so that is definitely a part of it. Beyond that, though, I definitely it put you through it put me through the crucible. It was definitely a spiritual journey for a reason.
Yeah.
It forced me to have to connect and meditate and pray. It was either that or like just give up on life totally. Like, I mean, it was like basically I was like, I'll do whatever it takes to get better.
Yeah.
I'll do whatever it takes. And that's what was really, really hard about it, because I did whatever it took, and I still didn't get better.
Yeah.
And then it went on, and 2 years down the line, I bought books about, healing male pelvic pain, and I finally realized, I didn't realize till probably 2 years in, that Kegels and trying to like strengthen the pelvic floor was wrong. I should have been trying to do reverse Kegels and actually releasing the tightness. I didn't know that. I didn't know that my muscles were hypertonic. I just thought that they were weakened. And they were weakened, but they were weakened because they were overused and overengaged. I did things like I was sitting down working actually at a computer for like at least a year straight. That made it worse. So I switched to, first of all, I got a cushion, a donut cushion. If you don't know what that is, people should consider that if they have tightness in the perineum. That helps when you're sitting down. But then I switched to a standing desk. And I started taking more breaks, because the way I see it is, if you're getting pain and tightness and discomfort and getting stressed and feeling bad, and you just have to drink coffee all day at your sitting desk, you shouldn't be sitting down at a computer for that long anyway. That's probably a problem.
Yeah.
You should be standing and then taking movement breaks, or walking outside and getting fresh air and sun and things like that.
Yep, this man
So,
speaks my language. Yes, yes, yes. I think this is so true. I want to interrupt you just briefly to say that I have actually heard from a lot of young male and female people, about your age, about my age, our age-ish, 20s, 30s, who have stressful jobs that do require a lot of sitting and a lot of computer work. And the tension, and then like you're saying, all that sitting really tightens up your psoas, your hip flexor muscles. It makes everything off balance and tight. And like you're saying, tight but not strong. It's tight and weak often. But yes, I love what you're saying, the idea of releasing the pelvic muscles, relaxing, not doing Kegels for someone like you, and also just moving more, because motion is lotion, it's every time you move, you're bringing blood flow to the area, and you're just making things circulate and just stretch and be mobile. It's huge. So I love the stand up, sit down desk and everything you've been saying. I just wanted to input that. So you were talking about, your journey, where you were at this point. Go ahead and continue.
Yeah. So at this point, I would probably say it was like, 2014 or 2015. I was still just doing everything possible, self-healing, trying new things. I would have a list of like 10 things to do. Take these herbs as soon as I wake up, do a 10-minute stretch routine. You know what I mean? I was like, I'll do whatever it takes to get better. I wasn't one of those patients who, didn't listen to the doctor, didn't listen to the things they were finding that works. I was doing all those things, trust me. I still wasn't getting better though. I finally ended up learning about physical therapy and how it could actually help. I can't remember exactly how, probably just through looking on the internet. And I found a pelvic floor specialist in the Dallas area, actually at Physical Dallas. Her name is Tina Petrie. She's a really good specialist. I started going there in like November 2015. So this would already been going on for like 3 years. I was just getting to the point where like you said, how was I not discouraged? By this point, I was extremely discouraged. Things like just walking around, and I couldn't exercise. I couldn't pick things up like a normal person. I lost weight and muscle. You can't, sexual function was an issue. It was painful. It didn't really work. The muscles didn't really work. Just not being able to urinate or have a bowel movement, things like that, without having a lot of pain and just lying on your back for 20 minutes until you can stand back up again. It got really, really bad. But I found a physical therapist and did the program. We did some really intense stretching and body work always at first, which was really good. And then we did some really basic exercises. I had an exercise program that went through phases. And then we also did like electrical stim at the end of each appointment. So I would go twice a week. I would drive like an hour and 10 minutes each way. I was really far away because I live in the country, but it's totally worth it. And I did that. I made a lot of progress. In like 3 months, I was about 85% better.
Wow.
So it was huge. It was working. Like it literally worked. What was happening is the physical therapist was guiding me more, and they were doing this really intense, deep body work, releasing tightness in the psoas, for example, and different areas, even in the tailbone, the coccyx. There are different spots, though. That intense body work coupled with me having a very clean diet, me doing the stretching routine every single morning, and being consistent with it was actually working.
That's awesome. That's awesome. So is that where you're at now then?
Sadly, no. But I wish I could say that was the end of the story. I thought it was going to be.
Yeah.
I thought that was, I was 85% better. I would say 90% better. I was like, I want to keep going, though, because I want to get 100% better. I want to be normal again. I want to be able to, and I wasn't able to like exercise or move my body much for like 3 years. Coming from someone who's a martial arts instructor and very active, it was extremely hard on me. I did everything like yoga or Tai Chi that I could, but I really, really wanted to move again. So I was finally getting better. So I was like, I'm getting better. I'm going to start lifting weights again. I started lifting weights, and I was doing pretty good. And I was eating a lot of as much protein as I could. But I was a vegetarian I was a vegetarian for like 2 years, because I became a vegetarian at like 9 months into all this story, because I noticed that whenever I was constipated and not regular, it made the pain way worse. So that's an important tip, I guess, to anyone who's listening. If you do have issues, you're not regular, you have constipation fairly often, that's going to flare up your issues a lot. So that's why I became a vegetarian. I noticed that just eating vegetables and not eating meat allowed my body to be really regular, and I was like, it's worth it because I don't want to be in pain anymore. But fast forward a couple of years, I was finally getting better, lifting weights again, and as a vegetarian trying to gain muscle, I ate a lot of nuts, a lot of dairy, a lot more than a normal person probably should. I end up finding out later on that I probably created like some mold or fungus inside of my body because of that, which actually, it's crazy because it's like a 4-year story. It wasn't just like it ended after the physical therapy, right?
This is good for people to hear, though. It's good to understand that it's not just one thing, and it's not just one single magic bullet cure. It's lots of things, and it's probably going to be lots of things you need to help these lots of things going on. So please, this is great. Go ahead.
I'll continue because like the first one was about me being hypertonic and having a weakness in the muscles, and I was finally getting better. But then my diet, so physical therapy stopped working. I wasn't making any progress. I was actually digressing again over the summer of 2016. I was like, I got to change it up. I went to an acupuncturist, and we did acupuncture twice a week for about 3 months. I would feel better for like a few hours, but it didn't make any improvement. And they were definitely doing distal points. They weren't doing local points like directly into the perineum or anything. They were doing distal points and everything. Finally, my acupuncturist was like, I got to send you to someone who I trust because he's my doctor, actually. And he's the guy that if I have extreme cases that I can't fix, I send him there. And he sent me to this guy named Dr. Aldo Diversa. This was back in November of 2016. And he is actually a chiropractor. He's an applied kinesiologist, a doctor of Chinese medicine as well. He's very unique to where his multidiscipline approach. Yeah. He's made a tremendous impact on me. I've gotten much better since seeing him.
That's great. So what kind of treatments are you doing, or are they difficult to explain?
No, they're really not. So I started going, and I would see him once a week, and I actually still see him. I only see him every 2 weeks now, which is a good sign. But I would go once a week. Well, what happened is first, he was like, we need to take a look at everything again. So we actually did an MRI. We actually did blood work. He just wanted to rule absolutely everything out in case there's actually something lodging up in my body, some sort of structure that needs to be removed or whatever. He was like wanted to make sure everything was totally blocked out before he went to his natural approaches. We did do all those things. But then he does applied kinesiology. If people don't know what that is, I didn't even know what it was. And I've researched a lot of things like this. Applied kinesiology is, I would say, everything seems to have an energetic pattern or effect on your body, different types of food and different type of influences. So he'll hold up milk, for example, to your stomach and then muscle test you, right? So he'll muscle test to see if it makes you go weak or strong. If it makes you go weak, then you have an issue with it, or something in your body needs to be tweaked before you can then consume it and digest it properly. So he did muscle testing on a lot of things. And he muscle tested the herbs that should go into my body to see if they made me go strong. And every time I went, he also did adjustments. So he would muscle test me and see what part of my body needed adjusting, do some body work, some really intense, like deep body work in a way. It was different than the physical therapist. And then he's a chiropractor, so he would do some adjustments on my body, make sure everything was aligned. And then he also finished with acupuncture always.
Wow.
But he did acupuncture directly into the perineum.
Oh my, that sounds intense.
It is very intense. I was like really, pulling my pants down, laying down on the bed. But at that point, it was the lowest point in my life ever, though, before I started seeing him.
Yeah.
Really, really bad. Like, I just didn't even want to live anymore. I was like, it's either I get better or like, I don't understand why I exist anymore, because I can't physically do things like a human being. Like, just standing up and washing the dishes I couldn't do without getting into pain. And I'm married and I have 3 young kids and I have a lot of responsibilities, and I felt bad that I couldn't do things like this. I don't know. And it's hard because people don't physically see anything wrong with your body whenever you have pelvic floor issues. So they don't really know anything's going on, and that kind of adds to it, I would say. But regardless, diet ended up being a huge thing, like I said, because we found out that, okay, let me back up. The way we found out really how I needed to modify my diet is we did the 21-day standard process cleanse.
So is this like an elimination diet? Where you take everything out and then slowly reintroduce? Yeah. That's
exactly right. I'm actually doing it again right now. I'm actually on day like 13. The first time I did it was like 10 months ago, and it made a huge difference. Yeah, what you do is you pretty much just have vegetables and water and tea maybe, and then the protein shake they give you and some sort of like green pills that they give you. Essentially, it's all like organic, super high quality stuff. And you do that for 10 days. Then day 11 through 21, you can add back in lean protein, such as like fish or chicken or turkey or something. And that's actually when I added back meat. I was a vegetarian until that point, but the meat didn't cause me any issues at this point. And what we found is that he was like, okay, well, it seems like you have some sort of mold in your body through all this muscle testing and everything that he figured out. And we need to keep you off grains and dairy, and limit your sugars, because we need to kill that. Mold or yeast or whatever is going to be fed with sugars and grains and things like that turn into sugar in your body. So that was extremely important. So changing my diet, because I realized anytime I would eat something outside of that diet, I would start to have that tightness in my pelvic floor again. It would get really bad.
Yeah.
And the tightness would be like a connection between the pelvic floor and the lower abdomen.
And I want to just mention to people that I will have a link in the video notes below to an interview that with Jessica Drummond that's really going to tie in beautifully with what Michael's talking about right now. So please check the video notes below for the interview with Jessica Drummond. So continue. This is great. I love this. There's a huge connection between gut health and pelvic health. So there
really is. And I didn't realize that. Back with the physical therapist didn't really know much about diet and health. And I was like, are there any diet suggestions? Do I need to add this in? I was just like, well, they didn't really have training in that. Whereas that's why I was really lucky to find this guy. And of course, people can learn these things on their own, though, of course, we're listening to you and others. But you definitely do need to figure out what is creating an inflammation in your gut, because that's going to, create way more pain and tension down there. So you might have an issue with dairy or with grains or different things. Even things like soy, or there's different things that your body could have a reaction to. So if you're in a really, really dark place right now, if like you're watching this and you don't know what to do next and you've tried a lot of things, there's nothing wrong with doing a cleanse, an elimination diet. Like I don't see any downside to it. Like you do that, and by day 11, 12 is when it all turned around for me. Like I actually finally woke up one day without, I will mention too, this is when I was doing this cleanse, when I was getting better is when I found your stretching video. And I found this video and I was like, okay, I've done lots of pelvic floor stuff in the past, etc. But it was really nice to have like a stretch that I could do along with you on the screen every morning. I did it every single morning for like 2 or 3 months straight.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, a lot of people probably don't do that, but I did that and it gave me a baseline again because I was like rebuilding. I was like, this is crazy. I was getting so much. I had to forget about the past. It didn't matter that I got to 90% before.
Yeah.
I was bad again. I was in a, physically full place again. So I did that every morning as a baseline. What happened is I would wake up and start my day without my pelvic area being so tight.
Yeah.
And that gave me a leg up on the rest of the day. And a lot of people probably have this as well. Later in the day is a lot harder. Afternoon, evening is a lot tighter, a lot worse. The morning is always the better part of the day for people with pelvic issues. But yeah, I was doing the stretching routine, and then I found I needed to eliminate those things. So I just started eating vegetables and lean meat, and the only thing we added in was rice. And I pretty much have only had that diet for like the last 9-10 months, which is filling, though there's lots of food that you can eat. It's not like I just don't get to eat grains and dairy right now. But I will eventually be strong enough once I get all the mold out of my body and my body gets back into place to add those things back in. It's not like they'll never be able to be added back in.
Yeah, that's beautiful. I love that you have found a path. It's something that it sounds like you feel like you can maintain at this point. You're feeling good about, you're feeling optimistic about everything, or is there, is this the end of the story right now, or is there more to your journey?
I definitely feel like I'm on the other side of it.
Yeah,
I feel like I'm almost done with this journey because I thought I was, and then I had a little digression a few months ago. But the reason why is that I had some moldy mats next to where I was working, and there was literally mold in my environment, so that created more of a flare up in my body again. So that was crazy, but that happened. I got all the mold out of here, all the moldy mats, and everything's good again. I'm getting better again. Yeah, I'm definitely feel like I've pretty much overcome all of this. And I've got to be very careful with my diet still. Yeah. I just went to the gym this morning, so I'm actually able to work out again. Not as intense as I used to, but I'm definitely getting back to it pretty well. So I'm in a much better place than I was. Absolutely.
I love it because I always like to kind of think of it as stair steps. It's like, you might take a step forward and maybe take a step back, but ultimately the overall progression is going up. Even if there are step backs, you're still going up. It's an upward trend. And I know that personally I have suffered with a lot of gut health issues and challenges. I adopted a paleo diet, which is very much like the diet you're kind of needing to go toward right now in a way. And it's, no grains, no gluten, no dairy, no soy, none of that. And I really did so much toward healing my gut. And now there's a lot that I can eat. Now I still don't eat gluten, but I can eat some dairy now and then, and I'm fine. I can eat soy now and then, and I'm fine. It's really amazing. I just want to give you some hope, Michael, and everybody else that, it's not necessarily a forever thing. You just do what you need to do to heal that area, and so many areas of your life, from pain to mental health issues, can be, resolved. And then you can get I don't ever want anyone to feel like they're losing their life at any point, but you can add elements that might make you feel happy back again. There is that light at the end of the tunnel. So, yeah.
That's good to hear. Yeah, absolutely. That does give me some hope, even because, hey, I'd love to eat these homemade blueberry muffins and raw milk that my kids just had this morning.
Yeah.
Again, that would be awesome. And but yeah, I think that there's a lot of dark times, but you have to stay optimistic, and you have to realize that everything does happen for a reason, I think. And even though it's extremely difficult and painful and this and that, there is something you're learning from it. And, if you have some sort of gratitude towards that, it's going to make the situation even better, because it was a very difficult situation, but I knew I had to go through it for a reason. And I definitely, like I said, spiritually and a lot of other things in my life, I would say that I'm a little bit more present. I'm not so future focused now as I used to be. I'm an entrepreneur. I used to always have ideas, and I want to do this, I want to do this, I want to do this. And I'm better at staying in the now moment now, and not always just thinking about the future. And when you do that, you just make the present to a means to the end. You don't actually enjoy the moment at all. So those are things that I've learned from this as well. I'll probably say they were required to learn. I was forced to physically, through pain and suffering, to learn them. And I thought I had learned all of that. That's why I was like, why is this continuing on? But for some reason it was supposed to. So.
Well, I think that's great. I mean, you're giving your family, your kids, a gift of you being present because of this journey. So what a great way to reframe it. I love that. That's great. Well, thank you very much, Michael. I think we can wrap it up at that. How can people connect with you if they would like to? I know that we discussed this a little bit, and we thought that perhaps if anyone would like to leave a comment in the video notes, the comment area, Michael will check in periodically and respond to you if you have a direct request. Is there anything else you'd like to add to that, or any
Yeah, of
closing
course. So
comments?
definitely comment on the video. I'll do my best to check on it sometimes. Otherwise, I run a martial arts program. It's an online martial arts school. It's called the Global Martial Arts University. We'll have the link in the description. You can actually go to the contact page and just send me a message. I'll read it. And if you want to ask me a personal question about this or that, please do. I want to help you. And that's why I'm doing this interview. And I don't, like I said, I don't want you to suffer for more time than you need to. Like I can, Dr. Bree's doing a great job helping you make a change now. I want to thank you for doing this for everyone, because there really isn't anyone out there being an advocate for pelvic health in this way. So it's
Yeah,
awesome.
it's new. I feel like the winds of change are coming though, and this is really growing the knowledge and awareness of this type of information, but it's not there yet. So yeah, thank you, Michael. Thank you so much. Thank you everyone for watching, and we'll see you next time. I'll sign off now. See you later.
All right, bye.
Bye.